Good morning, it's Lisa with Lisa Heal Yourself, and I'm going to give some valuable advice in today's video, not only to you, but to myself, as well as I'm gonna give a personal update here about what I've been going through, what's going on with me, and just a present day update. So again, it'll come with some valuable advice, but if you feel triggered over somebody who has been healed, who's in a big crash or a setback or a relapse or whatever you want to call it, then skip ahead. Maybe don't watch this. Maybe just watch the last 5 minutes of the video. But if you can handle it, I'm just going to give a quick update onto where I am and get into some advice as well. And so for those of you that don't know, I got sick back in early November. Late October, early November, and it was really bad. Went into pneumonia, and after coming out of that, I had a major relapse. I would say relapse because, I haven't experienced any of these symptoms for, so many years. So anyways, I had a full relapse of the nervous system, the autonomic nervous system, and had so many symptoms that, it was just really difficult. So I was doing all the right things, and then I got hit again a couple of weeks later, maybe it was 8 weeks later, with another really, really bad cold. So that was around just after Christmas time, or just before Christmas time. It was around in there, and which really set things back again. And so for the last week, I've been hit again. I don't know what I'm hit with this time. It's been a really, really, really bad cough. Continual coughing all night, just coughing so much. And so I haven't been able to sleep in a week. So this has not really been great. Getting hit with 3 really bad things. And I don't know if this is pneumonia. I don't know if this is leftover. I don't know if this is all, everything rising up, from what I dealt with in the fall and then the winter, and now it's early spring. So the last 6 months, every 2 months I've gotten hit really, really, really hard. And it has not only affected my body systems, but my nervous system. So unfortunately, it feels as though I'm right back in the thick of a healing journey. And I really had thought I had climbed out of that. And even though there was some residual things still left, I was basically healed for the last 3 years and, living a good life. So this has been really emotionally and psychologically confusing, disheartening, I think shocking to the system. And I think it's taken me a while to really fully grasp what is happening and to climb out of the shock of it all, because it has been a massive shock. I'm doing the right things, but unfortunately, since I've been getting hit every couple of months with these massive immune colds and everything, it's just, I haven't made the progress that I've wanted to. So this is just an update for myself, and unfortunately, I know if you're triggered easily, please don't watch this video. I don't think that this had to happen to me, and I'm still coming to grips with how it did. And was there a perfect storm that led to this? And how did my nervous system crash or relapse or go back into this so intensely, and now for such a long duration, and not be able to climb out, seemingly doing all the right things? So I am coming to grips emotionally, psychologically, physically. I think trauma and PTSD are playing a role. I'm trying to come to grips with how this happened and how, to solve the problem. But also, I'm aware that the nervous system is doing what it's doing. This is my present reality. And so although it's taken me a while to fully accept it, That's the only way forward, is to fully accept your present reality, even if you don't like it, and move forward from there, and stop wishing that you could go back, or wishing you could have done something different, or stressing about the future. The only thing we have is today, and we can only do the right things today and make the most of it. And so we have to do the right things with the basics of health, with our diet, with our movement, with everything that we have to do. And then the inner work. We have to do the inner work every day, and we have to, above all else, try to heal the nervous system, which I believe is at the root of all illness. So saying that, that's where my focus is. Unfortunately, I've been hit again really hard. So I don't know, again, whether this is just like the residual pneumonia coming up, what's happening, but it's been a challenging 6 months, to say the least. And going forward is the only way. That's the only way. Staying in the present and going forward. Staying in the present, going forward. I know that I will heal. I believe that I will heal. I know that this nervous system dysregulation has a lot to do with the patterns that I held for a long time, with the trauma that I lived through, with the fear, that it's happening again. And with all that trauma built up into it, is, holding this tighter than it needs to. So I'm working on releasing, I'm working on facing it. One of the things that we can do is, when all these symptoms come up, we don't suppress them. We don't stuff them. We don't say, enough of you, like, this isn't happening, I just want you to go away, because the symptoms are like the inner child. The symptoms are a way that your body is expressing and saying, hear me, see me, look at me, understand me. Like, allow me to cry, allow me to feel, let me be witnessed, let me be seen, like, love me, comfort me, hold me, right? The nervous system is talking. Like, I'm scared, I'm sad. Like, it is telling us these things, and we need to listen. And at the same time, we want to comfort, and we want to take a seat. We don't want to get caught up in that inner child, that those scared emotions and voices that are talking and need to be witnessed. We want to create and pull back our adult self, the self that can be seen, the self that can be heard, the self that can contain all this, that is the container for all this, the self that doesn't need help, that isn't helpless, that is the voice of reason, that has the answers, the self that is the witnesser, the self that is the parent. So we want to create this sort of adult, the real true self. We need this self to emerge while allowing this self to be seen and heard and parented and witnessed and loved by this self. So it's not enough just to let this self rise up, because if we let this self just rise up out of control with fear, it will just spiral, and it's not going anywhere. It needs to be seen and witnessed and heard and loved by the adult self, the container self, the witnesser, the self that is mature, and the self that believes and trusts and knows and is here to help this self. So we're integrating these two selves back together, and it can be difficult because when we spiral into this self, the self gets edged out, right? The self grows, the worry, the fear, the thoughts, the spirals, okay? And this self is still here, and it needs to come back and grow and help this self, contain this self. Realize that this self, all the symptoms, all the emotions, all the crazy thoughts, everything that's going on fits inside of this bigger self. You are the container that can allow all this. And when you begin to build trust with yourself, when you begin to be the adult, be the self that can help your smaller self, the bigger self, the true self, the adult self. This is the self that helps this self. And so It's not a matter of shutting the self off, right? That can't work. That won't happen. We need to see this self for all it is, let it be as big as it needs to be, but this self is bigger. This self can still fit around it. This self says, no, I see you, I hear you, I love you. You can feel and say and hear, and you can express anything and feel all the things. And yet, I still love you. I'm still here for you. I'm still a bigger container. You're safe. You can let go. You can relax. You can release. You can trust me to have it, right? This self right now doesn't trust that the self has it. We have to build this self back in a way that this self trusts your bigger self. I feel safe now. I've got it. So this is an update on me. It's also a reminder for myself on what I'm doing, how I'm trying to heal, what the work actually is. And so building up this self when you feel traumatized and this self's out of control is difficult because we lose trust in ourself, in our mature self, in our adult self, in our true self. We think we're not big enough, we're not strong enough. We forget the lessons and the wisdom, and we don't fully trust. And that's what we need to build back: trust, confidence, wisdom, like assurance, like I've got this, belief, faith, the ability to keep going, to bring this self forward and say, keep going, you've got this, I've got this, we've got this, right? I'm here, I'm bigger than that. I can handle this. I'll show you where we're going. I will lead the way. We're going to continue to do these things as we build trust and as we build this self back up to be able to help this self. So, excuse my coughing. Sorry, these coughing fits. Okay, I'm back. So as we're working with the adult self, with the true self, with the real self, building this trust back up in this self, we have all these symptoms flaring, which is what's causing all these, this mistrust and everything, and the belief in the system and everything. So the nervous system, let's not forget, the autonomic nervous system is nothing that you can control. So these symptoms are going to happen. Everything's happening because of hormones and because of the system, and the fight, flight, or freeze system is going, and you've got everything going. So you're not going to voluntarily control those things. You cannot will those things to do what you want. Now, we do have some voluntary control of some parts of our autonomic nervous system, and that is breathing. That is our breath. Although it breathes without it's not going to stop breathing, we also can control it to some extent. So we have some voluntary control. We have voluntary control of some of our movements, of our musculoskeletal system, and we can use that to our advantage. And we have, some control over our brain function, what we think about, of our thoughts, about what we visualize, about what we think and what we can say. So the brain controls everything, and we have some voluntary control over this brain, over our breathing, over our movement. So we want to use those things in this, in this growing. This adult brain, this true self, needs to remember, because this self is spun out of control, and you cannot just will it to stop. So we do want to use not only our adult brain and building the trust and the confidence and doing the inner work it takes, but also doing the outer work, also doing the physical work by saying, okay, I can control my breathing. So I can calm down my body and control my breathing, and I can practice that a lot of times through the day, and that will help the nervous system. I can also control my movement. So I can walk, I can move, I can stretch, I can do these things. I can release, I can lean back instead of hunch forward. I can unclench instead of allow things to be clenched up. I can do these things with movement. So I better use that to my advantage. And I can use my brain. So brain retraining, telling our things better thoughts, stopping the negative things, replacing them with positive ones, thinking about things that are helpful, visualizing ourselves being strong and capable and trusting and healed and helpful and like in control and healed, and visualizing these things, and also stopping, we don't have control over all of the monkey mind, but where we choose to put our thoughts and our focus, we do have some control over. So keep remembering, switch the thoughts, direct our mind where we're going. No, we're going this way. I know you think we can't do this and this and this and this, but we are going to do this, pushing our abilities, using our mind to say, we're going to do it. We can do it. We're going to think this. We can think this. We're going to visualize a different future, a different day. We can do that. So we have to not only do the external things that we can control with our nervous system, we have to use those to our advantage, but we have to build trust in ourselves. We have to do the inner work to build confidence, trust in our bigger self, in our true self's ability to hold this, contain this, look at this, feel this, and believe and trust that we've got this, right? So we are the healer to the part that's not healed. We are the witnesser to the part that needs to be heard and witnessed. We are the, we are the everything to the part that feels helpless and vulnerable. We're the part that can listen to the part that needs to express. We're the part that can calm, the part that is spiraling. We're the part that can love, the part that feels unworthy and unlovable. We're the part that can tell ourselves that we are healing, that we will heal, that everything is going to be okay, to the part that's falling apart and doesn't believe it. This is the work. This is the work. So I know this has been a bit of a long video. It's been mixed with my own personal, what I'm going through, but also some valuable advice, not only to myself, but to you as well. So I hope you've enjoyed this video. I hope you've gotten something out of it, and I will see you in the next one. You can do this. Do not give up. Rise up. There's a part of you in there that can rise up and can tell that other part, don't give up. You can do this. You've got this. There's a part in there that needs to be the part that can contain all of this, that can see it, that can hear it, that can allow it, that can witness it, that can soothe it, that can love it, and that can heal it. So I hope it's been helpful, and I will see you in the next video.